Hey everybody, Jason and Karma here. As you better than ever, it's pretty unbelievable. We're here at an abandoned Neoa Park today. Absolutely nobody here. The girls are over at the park, and there's like one kid over there after the balloon festival. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to talk about NXIVM. Now, if you were with me 2-3 months ago, you would know that I was ad nauseum covering NXIVM. Why? Prior to the Epstein break, it was the closest thing we had to exposing elite level pedophilia. What do I mean? Well, Keith Raniere, as involved as he was and as guilty as he was, in my opinion, was somewhat of a frontman for the Claire and Sarah Bronfman operation, as well as the Emmanuel and Carlos Salinas operation. For those that don't know, Claire and Sarah Bronfman heavily involved in financing this cult. The daughters of Edgar Bronfman Sr., their brother would be Edgar Bronfman Jr. Edgar Bronfman Sr., the mentor to Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton spoke at his memorial service. He was also the head of the World Jewish Congress. And aside from being, a Seagram's heir, aside from being the Seagram's heir, he was also heavily invested in the entertainment industry as well. So when Claire Bronfman got convicted of that, it was somewhat of a relief, but upsettingly, Carlos Salinas' son, Emmanuel Salinas, was never brought across the border. His position was marginalized, and now there are reports out there, number one, that NXIVM possibly laundered drug money for Carlos Salinas. Wait a minute, you mean the ex-president of Mexico was involved in drug money laundering? I can't believe it. I thought he would be fighting the cartels in the drug trade. Give me a break. And the reason I'm bringing them back up, other than that being in the news and NXIVM losing, I think it was like a $1.7 million lawsuit, all these things I'm going to do a proper video on. But in the next week or so, we're going to see how much time these people are actually going to get. And we already know that Claire Bronfman has cut a deal where she will receive 22 to 72 months. Maybe 24 to 72 months. I know that if she gets more than 27 months, she can appeal that. And she had to pay $6 million in restitution. That's chump change for her. She had actually put aside $14.3 million for the legal fund of everybody else who was involved in that case. And remember, Lauren and Nancy Salzman, the mother-daughter combo, they pled guilty. You have Allison Mack, the Hollywood actress. She pled guilty. From most of the accounts out there, it appears that her girlfriend and fake wife, because we now know 100% that she was sleeping with Raniere and that she had things in her name, et cetera, and was essentially helping to run the whole thing, much like Pamela Caffritz was helping to run the whole thing. Well, Klein was in a sham marriage, and she's not in jail. And like I said, Salinas is not in jail. So we're going to be following that. And again, she gets to appeal if she gets more than 27 months, but she bought a lenient sentence. It showed how the system worked there. And I was upset then. And then Epstein happens, and you get hope again, and an even bigger debacle happens. Let's not forget, Keith Raniere, he didn't have a defense. What do I mean? He didn't have one witness called. He didn't present any evidence that he was innocent whatsoever. He had his lawyer give a closing statement. That doesn't tell you that the fix is in, that he was ready to roll with the punches and take what was given to him. Who does that? It's ridiculous. So getting to the second half of this title, convenient affiliates. Oh, it's so convenient. We have these affiliate groups. What am I talking about? Well, if you watched my video earlier today on Al-Qaeda and Joe Biden and Syria and the war on terror and the show trials that are coming up, I played the clip where Tulsi Gabbard on the national debate stage started talking about how we work with Al Qaeda and have for many years prior to the Trump administration in Syria. Now, most people have no idea about this. And again, you'd have to believe that official version to think that Al Qaeda were the ones that actually carried out 9/11 when we know it was an international intelligence operation with role players in Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Israel, and right here at home, folks. That's what all the evidence shows. That's why I put up that Anthony Saltalamacchia 26-minute account from him on 9/11 in one of the towers yesterday. I thought it was a really important piece of the historical record. But I really hit home that no one challenged Tulsi Gabbard that we are actually supporting Al Qaeda in Syria. Well, today there's a story, and it just shows you how our government selectively picks and chooses who the enemy is, that they bombed a Al Qaeda affiliate site in Syria. Oh, now we're fighting them there. How convenient. And what does that really mean? That really just means that they get to spin any group they want. And I talked about this earlier also with the man who created the boogeyman, bin Laden. So there's a book out there, The Man Who Declared War on America. It was published in 1999, prior to 9/11. And this is when bin Laden starts, really being pushed as the next level terrorism. Remember in the 80s, in the movies, when the enemy was Russia, Russia, Russia? Remember that? Rambo, for instance. We were working with the freedom fighters, the rebels, who would turn into Al Qaeda. But that was okay because we were fighting the Red Scare. Well, later on, with movies like True Lies in the 90s, Schwarzenegger's an action hero, Stallone's the previous generation action hero. Who is it? Well, it's Middle Eastern terrorists. They're preparing you. Okay? That's what predictive programming really is, folks. And it's something that we have to be aware of. So, as I was saying, Joseph Bodansky, who's the guy that wrote this book on bin Laden, remember, The Man Who Declared War on America in 99, he's selling the book on C-SPAN. And he's talking about his connections then to where? Iraq and Saddam Hussein and Iran. And these same pieces of propaganda are being pushed today. And in that same clip, even then, in the late 90s, 99, when this guy is on there, somebody calls in and says, well, hey, wait a minute. Didn't we support the Mujahideen when it was convenient towards us against Russia? And he's like, well, when it's in our interests, of course we're going to support them. Come on, why wouldn't we? So yes, we do support both sides of the fence, but that's okay. And that's how they can say, well, we're bombing Al Qaeda affiliate groups in Syria, but the white helmets are actually, in many cases, members of Al Qaeda, and we're going to support them. After all, the United Nations supports them. There doesn't have to be any consistency. There doesn't have to be any coherency. There just has to be a continuation of the force in the Eurasian region and the general populace remaining ignorant to the facts that I just told you. So as I said, please go check out my extensive video on 9/11 today and the show trials coming, Joe Biden, Pakistan, the ISI, even a little Daniel Pearl in there if you don't know who that is. Very important video. Make sure that you check out the Anthony Saltalamacchia speech and account of 9/11. I know a lot of people were upset that he said, he's a New Yorker. He was a New Yorker, and that was filmed on the right before the 7th anniversary of 9/11. I think it was a DVD extra on Fabled Enemies. So I was excited to get that out to the people. And like I said, we are going to have a full-fledged, for real, in-your-face NXIVM update where we go over all the things I just talked about, the possibility of the ex-president of Mexico smuggling and laundering drug money through NXIVM, through his son, Carlos Salinas, that is barely mentioned, if ever, in regards to that case, as well as the upcoming sentencing, the loss of civil suits, and so much more. Island Girl, you wouldn't believe how good Karma's doing. Thank you so much. Take a look. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Every day, it's shocking to me how much better she is. No, I'm sorry. It is Emilio. It's not Emiliano. If it is, I'm sorry. But Emilio Salinas is the son. Carlos Salinas is the father. I may have been misspeaking when I was calling him Emiliano. But yes, It's all going to be gone over in a NXIVM update that is long overdue. With that being said, please share this video, like it, thumbs it up, and if you can, I got a GoFundMe. That's how I'm doing it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day, 7 days a week. Say goodbye to my girl Karma for me. And guys, I'll see you on the flip side. Thanks for joining me.